Nouriel Roubini, people are talking openly now about a double-dip recession. How likely do you think this is? And if we are facing this catastrophe, what can President Obama do about it to stop it happening?
Well, the probability of a double-dip recession right now, in my view, is at least 50%, not just in the United States, but also in most of the periphery of the Eurozone. The United Kingdom has not grown for 3 quarters now. And Japan had a double dip. Now they're recovering from the earthquake, but their structural growth is anemic. It's a situation in which there was too much debt in the private sector. Now there is too much debt in the public sector. And this painful process of delevering, you need to spend less to save more to reduce your debt, implies weak economic growth. But economic growth has become now so weak that most of these economies are at a stalled speed. It's like an airplane that decelerates to the point in which if you reach a stalled speed, either you reaccelerate and you get to escape velocity, or otherwise you start to free fall. And unfortunately, I fear we're going to start to free fall because in the last 2 or 3 years, every time there was an economic downturn or a market downturn, we had all the policy bullets available. We could do 10% of GDP fiscal stimulus. We could cut policy rates to zero, do rounds and rounds of quantitative easing. We could backstop and bail out our banks. But right now, we're running out of policy bullets. Every country is doing fiscal austerity that reduces demand. There is not much room for much more monetary stimulus. And government cannot even backstop their own banks because the governments in Europe are so distressed with so much debt that they're a cause of banking risk because a lot of the government paper is on the balance sheet of the banks. So there are not that many policy bullets left to avoid an economic downturn and a financial downturn.
Are we heading to a double-dip recession, yes or no, do you think?
I think a double-dip recession is, at this point, very likely. You look at the data for the U.S., GDP growth has been slowing down to a stalled speed. Consumption is flat. We're not creating jobs. Firms are not doing capital spending. The recession in housing is getting worse. Until now, people are losing wealth on their homes. The value of the home has fallen 35%. But now, in the last 2 weeks, 15% of their financial wealth, equity, has also wiped out. So you have a double whammy on your financial wealth. You feel poorer, you're going to spend less, and it's going to become a vicious circle of falling economic activity, falling asset prices, falling wealth, reducing consumption investment. And we don't have the policy tools right now to jumpstart the market and the economy.